Hey guys, just welcoming you back for another video, and today I am finally doing the tutorial to show you how to make these gift boxes that you can use for a gift set of cards. So let me set the ones that I've already made for an example. You're going to need 2 pieces of cardstock, one for the base and also a second one if you want to do a matting layer. I wrote out all the dimensions for each of the pieces. And what I'm going to do is take a moment, let you do a screenshot if you want to save the measurements, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So for the first piece you're going to need for the base of the card, you're going to need a 6x12, you're going to need a 4x6 for the lid, and you're going to need 2 3x6 pieces, or I'm sorry, 3x5 pieces for the sides. For the matting layers, you're going to need 2 pieces that measure 4 3/8 by 5 7/8, 3 pieces that measure 1 7/8 by 5 7/8, and then you're going to need 2 pieces that measure 1 7/8 by 4 3/8. And those are for the side matting layers. And then again, that's only if you want to do a matting layer. I prefer to. You're also going to need scissors, you're going to need glue or double-sided tape if you prefer. A closure, in this case today I'm using the velcro dots, and for finishing I like using the corner rounder. You can see here where it just makes a nice little rounded corner on the front of the flap, and I also came in with a 1.5 inch 1 1/2 inch hole punch to make like a finger or a thumb hole, to make it a little bit easier, like you can see here, to be able to get the cards in and out without them jamming into the lid of the box. So those are the basic things you're going to need, but you will also need a paper trimmer, and you're also going to need a scoring board. And both of these, you need to be able to fit a 12x12 piece of cardstock on that. Okay, I am going to start with the black cardstock, which is what I am using for the base of the box. And again, we're going to cut the 12x12 in half, so the first piece will be 6x12. Then out of the second half of the cardstock, I am going to cut a 4x6, and then I am going to cut 2 3x5 pieces. The 4x6 again is going to be for forming the lid, and the 2 3x5 pieces are what's going to make the sides. Now we are ready to do the scoring. And with the first piece, which is the 6x12, I'm going to line it up on the 12-inch side to the top. And the score marks I'm going to make are going to be at 4.5, then 6.5, and then again at 11. And again, these are the score marks that are going to form the body of the box. Now for the next piece, that is the 4x6, I'm going to line it up at the 4-inch side, and literally you're just going to score it in half at the 2-inch mark. That is the only scoring line that you need for this piece. For the side piece, what you're going to do is score on one side at the 1/2 inch, rotate it, score again at the 1/2 inch. This is going to be the bottom score. Then you're going to rotate it a third time, and again you are going to score at the 1/2 inch mark. These are the only 3 scoring lines that you need on this side piece. And I will do that also for the second piece for the sides. Before we get into the folding and the burnishing of the scoring lines, what we need to do is take your scissors, and I'm going to start at the top. You're going to cut at just a slight angle. You're going to cut a little wedge off of the top on both sides, and again you want to cut at an angle, not a huge one. Then we're going to do the same thing in the bottom corners of the side piece, and again on both sides you're going to cut in at a little bit of an angle, and you'll see what I mean here in just a second. And I will be doing this on both corners. What this is going to do is basically make 3 tabs for you to do the folding when you go to attach the side pieces to the rest of the box. Okay, so you can see here it looks like there's 3 tabs now on the side piece, and I'm going to repeat that on the second one. So now we're at the part where we're just going to go ahead and fold and burnish all the pieces. And I'll put this a little bit on speed up because it's pretty repetitive. I do this first main folding on the body of the box, and then I'll zip through folding the rest of them, and then we can start assembling. Now the first pieces to add, it's always going to be easiest to add the side pieces, and what you're going to want to do is folding up that flap at the bottom edge, you're going to line that up with what will be the bottom of the box to make sure that everything is lined up and you're not covering any of the score lines. This way everything will fold. I'm going to put a little bit of glue, and then what I'm going to do again is line it up. Make sure again that I'm not overlapping any of the score lines. Just press it down, and if you get a little bit extra glue on the inside, you can just grab some paper towel or something to wipe it out. But you really can't see it because this part is going to be on the inside. If you do want to remove it, there's a gizmo I'll use a little bit later in the video that is really nice for getting any glue residue out. So I've got the first side attached, then I'm going to go ahead and come in and line up the second side. Again, making sure to keep everything even so I'm not accidentally blocking any of the score lines. Just was a little bit lighter with the glue this time. And again, lining it up, going ahead to press it into place. And the rest of the folding and everything is going to be pretty straightforward, so what I'll do is I'll go ahead and zip through till we're ready to finish off the lid. So I made sure that everything was lined up as evenly as I could get it to make sure that there was no gaps or anything, and now we are ready to attach. And you only need to attach it to one half of that folded piece, and it makes it a lot easier if you put the glue on that small flap that's at the top of the box. Just because that way I know I'm getting the glue all in the right spot and I don't get too much all over the lid. So again, I just put the glue on that part of the flap that's attached to the box, and then I'll just go ahead and press everything into place. I did have a little bit of a miscut. There's just a tiny overhang on both sides of that flap where it's attached. So I just went ahead and took my scissors and trimmed that off. But you may not always have anything like that. If I cut it a little wonky, that's probably where I got it from. So that is the main part of the box, and we are now ready to get into the matting layers. And for the matting layer, I just want to make a note that if you are familiar with cutting paper that has like a directional pattern on it, then feel free to go ahead and use it if you feel confident. But because I'm not, I went ahead and picked a piece of paper that was non-directional. It just makes it a lot easier that I don't have to worry about putting a piece, or attaching a piece that ends up facing the wrong direction. But again, it's completely your comfort, and again, the matting layer is optional. But for me, I like to add the matting layer because it also adds a lot of stability to the box. So I'm going to go ahead and cut down those pieces. And again, you needed 2 that are 4 3/8 by 5 7/8, 3 that are 1 7/8 eighths by 5 7/8. Then you need 2 that are 1 7/8 by 4 3/8. So you can see here that I'm just lining up the 2 larger pieces. Again, these are going to be for the front and the back panels of the box. And I will just go ahead and cut those down, and then I will come back when we are ready for the next part. And just as a side note, as you are cutting the pieces, especially for the matting layer, it never hurts to double check to make sure that they do fit. As a little extra, I did decide to go ahead and cut down 2 additional pieces at 1 7/8 by 5 7/8, and I'm going to use these pieces to cover up the seam on the inside part of the flap, and it also helps it be a lot more stable. If you're going to be opening and closing it a lot, it makes the lid a lot sturdier. So Number one, it's finishing it off, making it look a little bit cleaner, and two, it is going to help stabilize that lid. But this is optional. This is not something that you would have to do. I did get a little extra glue on the inside of the lid when I was attaching the pieces, and that little rubbery square you see me using here, I got that from the Dollar Tree for $1.25, and that is, I believe, technically a glue eraser or an adhesive eraser, and they work really, really well for getting any residual glue off your cardstock or whatever if you need to get rid of it. So just a little tip, that's what that little thing is that I was referring to earlier. Now for this part, I wanted to go ahead and cut the finger hole ahead of time. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to kind of get an idea of where I want it. And then I also lined it up with the side of the box because I want just a little bit of the edge of the box to show in the thumb opening so it looks like it's matted all the way around. It's just a little personal preference. Again, you don't have to. I could have attached it first and then cut out the hole. It really doesn't matter. It's whatever way you want to do it. If you even want to include the thumb hole, but just so you know what I'm doing and what I was thinking when I was making that opening or that thumb hole. Our box is nearly complete now, so what I'm going to do here is I am using the line in that plaid pattern to kind of gauge where I want to use the Velcro dots for the closure, and I'm just measuring in an inch from both sides, and I'm going to make little marks with my pencil to know where to put the Velcro dots. Now I'm only attaching the first half of the Velcro dots here. I'm going to add a little bit of glue, and then I cut this part out, but I do let the glue set a little minute before I go in and try to attach the second half of the Velcro dots. And I will show you my little cheater method to making sure that I get the Velcro dots lined up. The first half of the Velcro dots seem to be glued down and attached pretty good, so now I'm going to go ahead and do that cheater method. Literally, all I do is I take the second half of the Velcro dot, put it right on top of the first half, and I'm going to do this on both sides, and then I carefully close the lid and press down to get the Velcro dot to stick where it needs to go. And there's probably a better way to do this, but this is how I have done it for as long as I can remember. It's just, to me, it makes it so much easier to make sure that I'm getting them lined up. So that's all I do, is I just put the two halves together for the Velcro dots. You can see here I'm just carefully closing the lid, pressing it down, and I kind of push my finger in there a little bit to try to pin the bottom half down to make sure that it's going to stick really well. And that's it. That's how I attach the second half of the Velcro dots to make sure, like I said, that it's all lined up. And that pretty much is it. So I'll just kind of finish making sure that everything is stuck down, and then we can wrap up today's project. And for the very final finishing touch, I do come back in here and I take just a little teeny bit off of the corners just to round them up a little bit. And again, this is just a preference. This is not anything that you would have to do. But that's the look that I like most when I do a lot of projects like this. I like to come in and round the corners. So just keeps it simple. And again, it's just a little finishing touch to the final box. So that is pretty much it. Hopefully you guys got a lot of good information, and if I didn't already mention it, The source video where I learned how to make this style of a box will be listed in the description box below. She's got some other tips that go along with the video if you're interested in checking them out. And I will also, for fun, go ahead and link the videos where Dawn and I had done our 10 cards in a gift box project way back earlier this year in our stash busting. So that is the box. You can see what it looks like without a matting, with the matting, and then again, the one that we did today is in the middle. So thank you so much for watching. Take care, stay safe, and I will see you guys in the next video. If you're interested in some more content, here's a couple videos you might want to check out, and I will catch up with you in the next one.